I'm a visitor in Hong Kong.
Okay, so
I
how
came
long-
yesterday.
You heard about the in Hong Kong?
Yes, that is why I came here. I take 2 months off this time of the year and I do a lap of the world backpacking on cheap airline tickets. But in the past I visited Occupy Wall Street in London, St Paul's, and I helped them at Zuccotti Park in New York, and I helped the Aboriginals in Australia. I was in Occupy Perth. And last December I went to visit the Yellow Vests in Champs-Élysées in Paris. I finished up getting tear gassed by the police in Champs-Élysées and had rubber bullet guns pointed at me. It's very interesting to see how the government stands up or ignores the word of the people. You know, we have what we think is a democracy, but even the politicians don't have a vote in the party. And so the policies of the political parties are actually decided from a higher level. And so when people when the government doesn't work for the wishes of the people, how do the people actually change it when you know, almost every political party will just do as it wants and not what the people want? You know, they don't give us a fair choice in the voting. We can vote for Party A that's not good, and we vote for Party B that's not good.
Yeah, but you know the nature of the CCP, the Chinese.
Yes, the people are very concerned about the strong-handed tactics of China in the government of Hong Kong. And what's interesting is everywhere all the people I've talked to that are not here today are watching what these people are doing. So even though there may only be 40 or 50 people here, you know, I've seen people outside being stopped by police in balaclavas, black balaclavas, just around the corner here. And anybody wearing black, just a black jot, is stopped by a group of 4 police, a menacing 4 police, holding rubber bullet guns and weapons against one civilian walking. You know, this is very, very unfair. This is a complete misuse of power. To stop individuals walking in the street because they're wearing a black jacket is very, very wrong. And you know, this was a British colony, and the concept always was that the police were looking after the people. They were agents of the people. But in so many Western countries, the police have become agents, thugs of the government. They've turned themselves from a respected force into what people now consider just a bunch of thugs. And we don't go to the police in Western countries anymore for help. We avoid the police because we recognize they turned themselves into a bunch of thugs.
And you know that America already signed the Hong Kong Human Rights Act. Trump already signed that bill. But in the Europe, what do you think people could, or the government could do to help?
Yeah, but human rights are just a natural right, and we should not need to write laws saying that humans have rights. We have natural rights from the moment we are born. We have rights before we were born. You know, we have a right even as an unborn child that is natural. We don't need to write a law about this. I haven't followed the law side of it, but I can see that what is happening wrong. Just to see, this is the first time I've seen it in Hong Kong, 4 policemen harassing somebody walking in the street because they're wearing a black jacket. That told me something is very, very, very wrong here. The study of what these people are doing here today is very interesting. This is a group of people that this is the people doing it spontaneously. This is from the people. And these people are affecting the hearts and minds of all the people in Hong Kong. But if you compare it to some of the other revolutions, like the French Revolution was orchestrated from the City of London through the secret societies and the Freemason type organisations working in Paris, in France. And the English Revolution was organised from outside, not just from the people. The Wall Street protests, they were orchestrated. That was just the people, and they had no money. They were eating food from dumpsters, and shops would come along and bring them trays of food and pizzas. But the climate change protests, they had money to spend, they had access to lawyers, and the press was publishing lots of things about them. So that was clearly organised by somebody much higher up with money. Oligarchs were organising the climate change protests, whereas this one in Hong Kong is clearly just coming from the people. They've not got access to money, and nobody is from outside is giving them money and permission and broadcasting good things about them. So when you look at the news reports about this, you'll hear bad things said about them whenever possible. The other thing that's occurring here is that you might think there's only a few people here today, but these few people here are affecting the hearts and minds of the people. So these 20 or 30 people here are influencing the thoughts of the people, and people are no longer believing, the people of Hong Kong are no longer believing the propaganda coming from the government. And before, the people would believe the propaganda coming from the government because the government seemed to be doing the right thing by the people. But as soon as the government stops to do the right thing by the people, then a small group like this comes together, and the people of Hong Kong are all watching to see the progress, what these people are doing, because it's affecting their hearts and minds. So this 20 or 30 people here today has managed to destroy the credibility and the propaganda put out by the government. The power of what they're doing is much, much more than the power of just 30 people sitting there. And anybody entering this shopping centre today can see that at the entrance that I just passed, there was 4 police dressed in riot gear they had rubber bullet guns with these great big barrels, complete with equipment. They are prepared to go and attack the people. And those 4 police that I saw out round the corner, we can go and have a look in a minute, had stopped a lady wearing a black jacket, no different to the black jacket this man here is wearing, as an ordinary shopper, and they were harassing her and asking her awkward questions and making her get all the paperwork out. 4 people dressed in riot gear talking to one poor woman is very, very intimidating, and that affects the people. The fact that they're doing that destroys the credibility of the police. The police this was a British colony, and as such, the police were seen as doing good for the people, looking after the people, making sure that the people were safe in the streets and keeping order. The police are given a whole list of laws that they can uphold, but they just use them in ways just to keep law and order so everybody can live a decent life. But now these police are harassing the people, and suddenly, within a very short time, the police have changed from having a good reputation to being seen as aggressors against the people. So the actions of the police has actually changed the attitude towards the government, whereas the government was seen as looking after the people, so in a very short time the police are seen as being thugs working for an oppressive government. And that's happened in a very short time, simply because a few people like this come out and sit in the shopping mall working out how to stop the law. It's fascinating. What you're watching here today and what you're recording as a news reporter is living history. In 100 years' time, they will look to see your reports. So you think you're just making a news segment for a news program for today, but in actual fact, your video, they'll still be analysing it and watching it in 100 years' time. So don't doubt the magnitude of what you're doing. And the little art things you showed me a little while ago, those art things will be in museums in 100 years' time to show how the effect of that art. I've seen some fabulous art around already. I've only been here one day, and I've seen some fabulous revolutionary art depicting Hong Kong as a virile, fertile group of young people wearing a worker's hat, showing that they're working and doing good for Hong Kong, and emblazoned in in the black and white of the silhouette was all of the nasty action of the police against the people. That will be shown in museums in 100 years' time, just as people look back to see the art of the Chinese Revolution and the terrible things that occurred there, but the art in particular will be looked at. And people still look at the art of the Bolshevik Revolution. And that was the Bolsheviks were not Russian. They came in from outside and devastated their nation. And the art of the French Revolution is still visible.